Hey there, booze buddies. Welcome to another episode of Paranormal Spirits, where we share a drink, we tell you a spooky story, and then we rip it apart because booze always shows the truth. So today, I have a story for you about Tony Cornell and his experimental apparition.
That sounds like that's a good band name. Experimental Apparition.
It is. So he's a weird dude. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Tony Cornell was a British parapsychologist and a very prominent figure in investigations of the paranormal in the United Kingdom in the latter half of the 20th century. But what he is known for was a series of investigations that he created to see how people would react to ghosts. He artificially induced the experience of seeing a ghost by dressing up as a ghost himself.
I'm sorry, but when you said artificially induced, I was like, he artificially inseminated a ghost.
That's another story for another website.
Subscribe to our Patreon.
So Tony wanted to dress up as a ghost in what he called the experimental apparition.
Okay, all right. How does one? What do you wear when you're dressing up as a ghost?
He went very high tech. There were 3 different experiments. The first one was in a cow pasture that apparently a lot of people tended to walk by. So he was going to do a 4.5-minute ghost walk, which was very specifically choreographed. So what he would do is he would crawl behind a small mound, they described. I don't know what the mounds were, maybe a little hill. I don't know. It's a hilly area of Britain. I don't know. So he would crawl behind a small mound, wrap himself in a white sheet, and abruptly stand up as if appearing from out of nowhere. And then he would stroll to the next mound before diving down to the ground where he vanished. And he did dress rehearsals of this with his research assistants because he wanted to confirm that his appearances and disappearances were sudden and startling.
He was the whack-a-mole of ghosts. He literally...
So he had this all set up, right? They did several dress rehearsals to make it look like he was like, boop, boop, boop. And he stationed research assistants along this path that went near the cow pasture so that they could observe the unsuspecting passersby. The team conducted 6 walks in total. It sounded weird, walks.
Whoa. Whoa.
The team conducted 6 walks in total, but there was an unexpected complication. Nobody noticed him. Not one person out of the 80 people who walked by gave any indication that they noticed him. But Cornell did note that the local cows were very interested in this, so they noticed.
So he was so good at being a ghost that nobody even saw him. He was so good at it. That's amazing.
He's like, you know what? Maybe the cow pasture is just, it's too out of the way, right? There weren't enough people to notice me. So we're going to reconstruct this experiment. And we're going to do this in the graveyard next to St. Peter's Church. Very busy area, next to a road. People are definitely going to see me. This time, he had his research assistants, they weren't merely just observers this time. He had them ready to react in case anybody got hysterical because it was near a street, and so he didn't want any accident.
You sheeted it up for all of these?
Yes, he was, in fact, sheeted for all of these experiments. That was the getup that he went with. This is ghostly.
What year was this?
It was around 1960.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Makes total sense. Ghosts were still sheets in the 60s.
Right. He went the Scooby-Doo route.
Oh, it's so good.
All right. So in a similar setup, and between pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists, he estimated that about 142 people went by that could have seen the apparition, but only 4 gave any clear indications of having seen it. The first person described the apparition as, and I quote, "a man dressed as a woman who surely must be mad." Another said they assumed it was an art student wrapped in a blanket. And then 2 witnesses, when questioned together, did realize that the experimental apparition, aka Cornell, was probably intended to simulate a paranormal event. They figured out what was going on, but went on to note that it was kind of like easy to figure out because they said we could see his legs and feet and knew it was someone dressed in some white garment. So not only does he have a sheet over him, but it's not long enough to cover his legs and feet.
He's got a pillowcase. He's just put like a little, it's like a twin sheet. He really needed the king size, and he went twin.
He just like put a little throw over himself and was like,
he doesn't even have it like all the way over. He's just wrapping it around.
Yeah.
Boo! Boo! He's just jumping out. I picture him in this old cemetery, just like jumping out and being like, oh.
So, well, here's the thing. He was silent, but in the middle of all of this, he had this impromptu hypothesis that, you know, maybe the people weren't noticing him because it was only visual stimuli. So he added in some ooh while moaning in order to attract attention. And that was during the last 6 minutes of the experiment. And
so for just 6 minutes, this man in a sheet is going, ooh.
Don't forget the legs and like shoes walking down there with it.
Just tap dancing with his Oxford shoes.
So none of the 10 people who walked by while he was moaning gave kind of any indication that he was there. My theory is they were like, there's a crazy dude in the graveyard. I'm not making eye contact. I am going to keep going. Because who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, I would look and laugh, but
I would literally pee my pants off. There is no way that I would not have peed my pants laughing if I was walking by a cemetery and I saw a grown-ass man with a sheet over his head, his little toesies sticking out the bottom, going, boogity, 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 ooh. Like, how is that not a joke? How is that not a joke?
I know, but these were polite Brits, so they were just like, nope, we're going to keep going. We're just not even going to acknowledge the dude in a short sheet with his shoe sticking out going, ooh, in the cemetery.
A short sheet.
Strike two. He didn't achieve a paranormal experience for anyone. So Cornell's like, we need to take it up a notch. With his next experiment, he wanted to take two considerations into account. He wanted to have the experimental apparition, as he still was referring to himself, be in an area where people's attention was already focused. And then he had a second consideration that he felt was an ethical one. He was afraid that the experimental apparition, aka himself in a short sheet, would traumatize children. So he wanted to make sure it was in an area where there would be no children. So we need attention, no kids. So he decided an X-rated film was the way to go.
Stop. There's going to be a lot more hanging out on the bottom of that sheet. There's going to be the sheet is just going to go, ooh.
The sheet suddenly rose.
There's two ghosts.
Did that ghost have a baby?
Why is there a small ghost with the big ghost?
It's so funny. Oh my god, he's so stupid. Okay.
I'm obsessed.
I love this guy. So on May 28th, 1960, at around 7:40 p.m. at night, he was ready. He had his sheet. He had his shoes. He was ready to go. He had an X-rated film. He had the audience, like, their attention was focused. He was like, this, my friends, this is my moment. Before emerging from the shadows, Cornell wrapped himself in a muslin sheet. He then emerged in front of the unsuspecting audience, bathed in the light of the projector, and moved back and forth across the stage for approximately 50 seconds. Now, 6 research assistants were in the audience because they, were there to observe how people were reacting to this. And once this was done and before our feature X-rated film began, Cornell removed the sheet and was naked. No, he was not.
I was like, stop. I'm involved. I was involved before, but now I'm very involved.
He was clothed. And he took a microphone and he went out to the audience because he wanted to see how people were reacting and tell them It's okay, everyone. That was not really a ghost. It was me.
I have a lot to say. First of all, the majority of people in an X-rated theater, I'm assuming, are men, right? Like, is that the audience that you're really looking for to try and scare with a spooky sheet ghost? Second of all, those bros are there for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there for anything else but to just jerk off in a movie theater. So this guy comes out in a sheet. Thank God he had this sheet. It was, thank God, it was protection. I'm getting loads blown at him. Yeah, and then he goes, turn up my eye! My eye! Oh! That guy's got some distance. Oh my God. Jesus, and you know what he needed? The cum towel.
Well, he had the sheet. You know, that had to make to do.
He did have the ghost sheet. Ghost sheet doubles as a cum towel.
Here's a life hack, everyone.
If your cum towel's in the laundry, your ghost sheet will help.
So, you know, he gets up there in front of the audience, right? And he says, hey guys, it was just me. Settle down, settle down. Not one person in the audience noticed any paranormal activity. 46% of people failed to notice the experimental apparition when he first walked in front of them, but then might have noticed something. 32% remained completely unaware of it the entire 50 seconds my dude was walking back and forth across the stage. Even the projectionist didn't notice him.
Well, if you think about it, he's in a sheet. So the projection is just going to project onto whatever the sheet is. So it's really not going to be very noticeable.
It's like movement.
It's an X-rated. He's just like a walking asshole. Like there's literally like a human, just a satchel. It's just like every time he comes back and forth, he's a different body part that's horrible and inappropriate. Left labia.
The movie hadn't started yet.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
And the people that did notice him weren't exactly very accurate in their descriptions of what they thought they saw. One person thought they saw a woman in a coat. Another intelligent and extremely gifted audience member thought they saw a polar bear.
Accurate. It was the feet. I like that this guy thinks he sees a polar bear and doesn't do a thing. He just sits there. I'm just waiting for the titties. He's like, ain't no polar bear gonna stop me from the titties. Or maybe he's really into polar bears and he's like, ooh, a polar bear.
So another person thought they saw what was like a fault in the projector. So kind of similar, I think, to the effect like you were talking about. And then one person accurately described a man in a sheet acting like a ghost walked by.
I'm obsessed.
So Cornell ultimately concluded that the reason that people didn't feel like they had a paranormal experience is because it was missing that subtle psi factor or telepathic stimulation. I don't know why telepathic has 4 quotes, but telepathic stimulation
Yes.
that would normally correspond with a genuine haunting. He also went so far as to say he thought that maybe because of people's lack of awareness, that true hauntings were, grossly underestimated because people just simply weren't aware of it. So one good thing did come out of this. And I don't know how helpful it really is, but there could be uses. Okay. He inadvertently brought attention to a phenomenon which later became known as inattentional blindness.
Inattentional?
Inattentional, yeah. It's a terrible name.
Yeah, it feels wrong.
Right. It's just like motherfuckers who aren't paying attention don't see it. That's the effect, right?
Right.
Basically, when someone's concentrating on a task, they focus their attention so intently on that they don't tend to notice the things around them. And that became like another area of study. Has nothing to do with the paranormal, but his weird experiments did help bring about that area of study. So that is the story of A.D. Cornell and his experimental apparition. Yes, questions, please.
Who the fuck were his research team? And why were they hyping him up so high? Like, were they getting paid? Was this a school project? Like, who the fuck are they? Because who was gonna be like, yes, to the adult theater we go. Grab your sheet. We're gonna make scientific history here. Like, which one of them was like, yes, this is the look. Yep. Oh, you know what you need? Ooh.
Really sell it. Really sell it, Tony.
Add it. When you're jumping from behind the mound, you want to make sure you jump up real fast. Not if you're too slow on the jump. You've never seen a ghost jump up from behind something? It's fast. Yeah. Jump up, down. Up, down. Get it right. But who are they? Who is this research like they were doing?
I can only imagine they've got to be students, or I mean, maybe they were getting paid. I was a research assistant at one point in time. I was paid for it, but
can you imagine them like after work at the bar being like, yo, did you see his feet? Did you see his feet?
You mean the Nikes? Yeah. I saw them.
He's got his New Balance dad shoes on. Wow. I just love it. I love that he was so like, he like gaslit himself. He literally was like, no, can't be me. It's definitely them. Can't be my ghost. It's definitely the 47,000 people that just walked by. The hundreds of people, because there was, a couple hundred people.
Yeah. The only thing I can picture in my head, though, is on Charlie Brown, Pigpen, in the Halloween one, where he's dressed up as a ghost and you see his little feet.
It's still the dirt cloud. Yeah, that's it.
It is. I can imagine.
It's really what it is. It just wee in front of the freaking adult theater. Like, I can't handle it. It's so good. I can't. I want to paint him. I'm so sad that he's dead. I would literally write him an email if he was alive, just to ask why. I just can't believe he did it 3 different times, and it was like, yeah, it definitely. You know what? It's the pasture. No. We need more direct attention. No. It's just, people can't focus on something else. But if there was like no movie happening, what was happening?
It was before the movie started, so I don't know what was going on at that point.
Do adult movies in the movie theater have like that little like pre-recorded like thing that goes before the movie, but instead of snacks, it's like, get your towels, right? Don't forget your towel. Just towel. You need just towel. We sell them.
You've got the popcorn and the soda.
But it's just like condoms.
Let's all get some condoms. Let's all get some condoms, and don't forget your towel.
Yeah. That's one. That's way better than my weird song. You win.
I thought you might like this one. I came across this and I was like,
yeah, I love this. I don't like this. I love this. This is a Caitlin story for all stories. Obsessed. His fucking little legs, man. I can't stop thinking about his stupid little legs. Is he, when you think about him, is he really tall or is he short?
I think about him as short. I think about him as kind of like the nerdy professor, right? So he probably had like little brown like Oxfords or something,
corduroys
with like striped socks because the like corduroys were too short.
Yeah,
and so you could just see the under the like sheet.
Mm-hmm. Can't have had a ghostly walk. Yeah. I also can't stop thinking about how polite British people are. Like people be like, "Oh, sorry, oh sorry, sir. Oh, so sorry, I love your sheet. Oh, so sorry."
Can you imagine if he'd conducted the experiment here in the U.S.?
Especially now. Got punched in the teeth. Someone would have been like, "Nope, goodbye."
I want him to do it like in Boston, in downtown Boston.
Yo, look at this fucking piece of crap over here with his feet hanging out of the sheet. Where'd you get that sheet? Did your mother pull that out of the laundry for you? Jesus, you think you're scary, bro? I'll show you scary. Grow up and go to South Boston. That's scary. Trying to park by the Fenway when the Sox are playing. Scary. This shit ain't scary, bro. Go somewhere the fuck else. That's exactly. And then somebody would beat him to smithereens.
Like
in
the
the title.
whole time I was reading, especially the graveyard one, I was just like imagining, like, what if you and I were walking by and we see this, like everyone else, polite, avoiding eye contact, not mentioning it. You and I would deliberately be like,
I would die. I do this thing when I laugh. I know everyone here sees me sitting. But when I laugh really hard, I cross my legs and bend over because I'm preparing for the fact that I might pee my pants. And it doesn't matter where I am. I can't help it. I stop like in the middle of a street, cross legs, bent over, full-fledged scream laughing. And that's exactly what would happen. And then he would just sulk off in his little sheet.
his shoes would be sad.
So, like a sad shuffle. Boop, 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 boop. I love him. I think the ghost boner is my favorite part of the whole story that I made up.
Yeah, me too.
What's his name?
Tony Cornell.
Tony Cornell. Okay.
And it was called the Experimental Apparition. Hold on, Lulu's gonna go. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I think. Oh, Ralph. Okay, go ahead. I thought Ralph was coming in. Sorry.
Well, that's the crappy story of Tony Cornell and the experimental ghost, apparition, ghost, whatever. If you like what you saw, take those toesies sticking out from under the sheet and hit the like, subscribe button and ring that bell. And if you don't like that song? What? I just had a stroke.
What year is it? Who's president?
It's really fucked up. That was a fucked up joke. Smells like toast in here. If you don't like what you saw, why don't you just ooh your way the hell out of here? Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more drunken adventures with two old, spookier than a sheet wearing whores. What? That didn't even make sense, but we're keeping it. Get out. Bye.
Goodbye.
See you later.